only to realize that the arrows he was using were fucking shit. Unfortunately, he had been discovered immediately, and so he launched his firebolts from afar. Never ending, never ceasing, never stopping, just a countless barrage of flame. He avoided Malkaran's frost spell, but only barely. Malkaran launched another, and another. Clearly he was a worthy foe. Unfortunately, he had the wrong shout equipped. And so he ruffled through his bags and he drank. And he launched his next attack. Fortunately, Malkaran's spells were slow. But that one hit him dead on. Fortunately, he accessed his bags just in time. This was to be a battle for the ages. He had not intended to fight with a bow, he just wanted to use up the last of his poison. With that out the way, he unleashed Priscilla. Malkaran stood no chance against their combined might. He readied his unrelenting force. And now Malkaran's only future was one in which he was dead. Suddenly, he returned as a shade. Pix and Pooks had not quite seen that coming, and so he was slightly rattled. Fortunately, the shade appeared to be using fire magic. Priscilla, of course, would not care. Pix and Pooks launched his bow, but then Malkaran brought out the ice magic. Just like him, to mix things up. Luckily, the shade was just as flappable as Malkaran himself. Unfortunately, Pix and Pook's aim was sodding terrible. So he resummoned Priscilla, got out of the way of the deadly, deadly ice attack, and launched his final volley. And Malkaran fell.
It is done. The Defiler is defeated. Take Dawnbreaker from its pedestal.
Malkaran was dead. He looked almost as though he was cowering in his final moments, his hands flopping over his eyes. Pix and Pooks knew he had to take Dawnbreaker, but first, he learned a spot of magic. He hurried up to the pedestal. But before he took Dawnbreaker, he was to loot the rest of the room. Because, God help him, he loved loot. He loved it more than he loved his 7 wives. That's right, he was a polygamist. More urns, a fern, and a veritable mountain of corpses. Malkaran had certainly been up to some bad gravy, which is worse than good gravy, as I'm sure you could guess. He quickly checked the urns on the other side of the rooms, wanting a brief reprieve from the smell of the dead. He looted all he could, so he returned to the grisly pile. This was, if nothing else, very profitable. With nothing else left to take, he took Dawnbreaker and found himself bathed in light. For a while there was only the whiteness, and then he found himself in the air once more.
Malkaran is vanquished. Skyrim's dead shall remain at rest. This is as it should be. This is because of you. A new day is dawning, and you shall be its herald. Take the mighty Dawnbreaker, and with it purge corruption from the dark corners of the world. Wield it in my name, that my influence may grow.
With a sudden rash of defiance despite his precarious position, Pix and Pooks looked Meridia square in the orb, and he said, "I'll keep your sword, but find someone else to spread your little there."
It matters not. The plant cares nothing for the rays that bring it the warmth of the sun. As you carry Dawnbreaker, so will my light touch the world.
He screwed up the last word, which made him sound less badass than he'd wanted to. But the last laugh was his, because he had no intention to use Dawnbreaker. It would serve as a nice ornament and nothing more. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of how the Dovahkiin came to gain the favour of Meridia.